Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. This video is going to be reviewing the May coding challenge. So let's jump straight into the question. Basically what you're given is a list such as this here, along with some target. Now the target may or may not be inside nums. So in this case, we're given a target of 5, and yeah, 5 is inside here. So when you have this situation, you just need to return the index of it. So we'll have 0, 1, 2, so return 2. However, you may also have this situation here where the target is not inside nums, and in those situations what you need to do is return the index of where it would go. Bear in mind this is always ordered, so 1, 3, 5, 6, it's going in strictly increasing order. So 2 would basically sit, let's see, it'd basically sit there, and that's at index 1. So basically two things to bear in mind: return the index if it's here. If it's not, return the index of where it would go. So I'll be running through the solutions, then I'll run you through a simple solution using a for loop and explain how it all works together. So let's go through Ross K. Graham's first submission. This is using pairwise from itertools. And let's start from the top here. So this first bit, if target in nums, okay, so it looks like you're basically addressing this situation first. So we're basically trying to figure out if target is inside nums. So what are you doing here? Okay, yeah, so let's suppose if we have like 5 and 1, 3, 5, 6, basically saying if 5 is in the list, then go ahead and then do nums.index of target. Yep, that's fine. That's a nice simple way to check if the target we're looking for is inside the list, and if so, we then just go and return it. And then this bit, if I just do a quick line break here, this is basically addressing all the situations where our target is not inside the list. So I think when I did this, I did it sort of the same way as these two here. So these two elifs. So we have, let's see, if the target is less than the first number, okay, that's fine, yeah. So in some situations, so say for example, if your target was 0, that's going to be less than the item at the front here. So in that case, yeah, it's going to sit at the front, so index 0. So yeah, that's pretty cool. If the target is less than the first number, return the first index 0. Or if the target is greater than the last number, return len of nums, which will be the rightmost index. And then we've got something interesting here. For IDX pair in enumerate pairwise nums. Okay, so to test out this bit, let's go ahead and try something. Let's print off the IX and the pair as well. There we go. So let's do, let's pick this one here. So we're doing this one, which we know should be somewhere in the middle. Let's hit run. 1 and then 1, 3. 3. Oh, okay, I see, yeah. So what pairwise is doing here, it's basically taking almost like a sliding window. So if you do like 1, 3, 3, 5, 5, 6, those are basically our pairwise entities here. So we're going through the index and then each pair. So 1, 3 at index, in this case 1 here. Oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then what you're then doing is doing pair 0 less than the target less than pair 1 here. So you're basically, like, whilst looking at 1, 3, a pair of numbers, you're basically using this if statements to figure out if the number is actually sitting in the middle here. And because we're passing in 2, yeah, 2 sits in between 1 and 3, so therefore you return it. That's really cool. I think that's a really nice way of using the pairwise function. So yeah, nice one, thanks for that. Let's take a look at your second solution. And I'll admit, I had to look bisect left up. I'd looked at bisect for a while, but I hadn't seen this one for a fair amount of time, so I had to refresh my memory as to what this actually does. So this is really neat. It's basically a single line, which is quite cool. And I think, as you mentioned in your comment, this is a great way of looking at these more obscure functions in Python. So the job of bisect left is to basically return the index where something should be inserted to keep the list sorted. And I think the question kind of plays to our strengths here, because we're given a sorted list. It's basically saying, like, where would you have to put 5 inside this list to keep it sorted? Or, and, you know, and if that number's already in there, it returns the leftmost position. So this one, let's see, suppose you had 2. If you wanted to put 2 somewhere into this list to keep it sorted, it's obviously going to have to go here, thus answering our question. So pretty neat, actually. One thing to note as well, it doesn't actually insert anything, it just gives you information, it just tells you where it would go. So yeah, super neat, and I think that's really interesting. We're going to quickly run it, check if I've not got any of these uncommented. These are the correct answers here, 2, 1, 4, 0, so we should expect to see those. And we do, 2, 1, 4, 0. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go through a really simple solution using a for loop. So we will go ahead and start here. I've got my function set up, return index, taking in nums and target. So nums is going to be my list of numbers here, and target is going to be 5. Let's just clear the screen. And the way I'm going to do this first is to basically check the first and last here. So what I said mine was a bit similar to, where is it? This one here. My initial thought was to check this to begin with, and then kind of go through and do some other checks. Let's start with that first, shall we? So to do this, we want to say if target is less than this here, then obviously our thing's going to have to go at index 0. So to do that, we'll do if the target is less than nums of indices 0, cool, return, sorry, it's the end of the day, that's why my typing is a bit sloppy. Return 0, and then we'll do another if. Because we're doing return here, you can do if or elif, doesn't really matter to be honest. Obviously if this hits return, it's not going to jump down to this, so this could be an if. Or we'll do if our target is greater than numbers of -1. So this time saying like if 5 is greater than 6, or if some number is greater than 6. And if that is the case, we return len of, where is she? Nums, there we go. Okay, looks good. Let's just quickly run our code. So far we get none because this isn't basically returning true for any of these situations, or it's not making any of these true here. One that should work is this one here. So 0 is obviously going to sit at index 0, so I'd expect to see none from this one and 0 from this one. And we do, none and 0. Let's try this one. So 8 would expect to sit at the end of the list, so here, like this. So this would be index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so the length of the list. So we should see a 4, and we do. So it's just this first one now we need to kind of account for, actually the first two really. You want to know, how do we figure out if something is in this mid-range of numbers, not at the leftmost and rightmost extreme ends. And the way I sort of had the idea of doing this is as follows here. So I want to basically keep track of x here. So this is basically going to be like, I sort of call it a running index, if that makes sense. I'm going to comment out these ones, that one for now. In fact, if you want to do one that's kind of like here somewhere, let's see, if I make this 4, 6, and I want to put in 5 here, so we'd expect to see 0, 1, 0, 1, 2. So expect to sit somewhere here basically. So we'd expect 3 to come out the other side. And then what I'm going to do is then set up a for loop like this here. So we'll do for I in range. You could use enumerate for this, but I'm going to stick with I in range to keep it a bit simpler. And this is going to be len of nums like this. And this first one's just going to be doing the checking to see if this is inside my list here. So we'll do if target happens to be equal to nums of the current index we're looking at, return that index. So at this point I'd still expect to see none, so this shouldn't be really doing anything here. And then what I want to do is this here, so let me type it out first and I'll explain my logic behind this. Then I want to say if the target is bigger than the number we're currently looking at, let's see, and so imagine in this case here, is 5 bigger than this? Yes, it is. So we know that it's going to be at least bigger than index 0, right? So what I'm going to do in this case is say, if the target is going to be sitting after this, boost up this running index by 1. So I'll do x plus equals 1, like this here. So that's basically my way of figuring out where it's going to go, or at least figuring out where it's going to go at least, okay? So let's just, tell you what we'll do. We'll print x for the time being, just hit run. So see how we get 1, 2, 3, 3. So we know it's going to be, index 1 is going to be here. What have we got? Index 2 is going to be here for the time being. So see how it's kind of jumped up to the 3, but there's nothing telling it when it should stop, right? So it's basically saying my target is bigger than this, bigger than this, bigger than this, and then nothing. So what we now need to do is figure out when this should stop and then return. The way we can do that is do elif target. We can do less than or equals to nums of I here, colon, and then return x like this. So let's bring it all up. So basically the job of our first if is to be incrementing x. This basically figures out when x is incremented enough and needs to stop. So what I propose we do is change this to 2. Leave the comment out for now. So if it's 2, we expect it to sit here, right at the front. Let's hit run. And it does. So we get index of 1. So what would have happened there is this would have said, okay, target is bigger than the first number. So yeah, go ahead and bump this by 1. But then this elif, this would have happened when we looked at 3. So we said 2 is less than or equal to 3. Therefore return it. So this only incremented once before this made it go ahead and return. Let's try it with 5 here. So this would expect to go just before the 6. So 0, 1, 2, index 3. So I want to see 3 come out now. And we do. Let's try 10. And with 10, we get this one happening here. So we can see this is working fine, this is working fine, and this idea with my running index is also working fine. Guys, for next month, because I'm away getting married actually this weekend, which is kind of cool, and then we have a honeymoon for just under 3 weeks, so I'm not going to be doing a June release question. I do have a couple of shorts and some videos scheduled, so make sure you keep tuned for those, and I'll be back in July with the coding challenge then. And once again, guys, thank you so much for submitting your answers. I always enjoy going through and reading them. I always learn new stuff myself, especially this bisect left one here. I thought that was a really cool, interesting idea. Cheers for watching, guys. Have a great rest of your week, and see you all in the next video.